Hi, my name is Bob Streetnetter from Luthy Botanical Garden. Our hours here are 10 to 5 every day. Today I'm going to talk to you about some of the flowering shrubs, trees and shrubs that flower in the spring. It's one of the real beauties of spring. There's so much rapid, constant change in a garden. And sometimes we almost miss out on some of these really special trees and shrubs. Right behind me is a Wonder Blue lilac. It's one of the, it's a smaller, more compact lilac, but it has all the same attributes that a larger, 10 to 12 foot lilac would. And this maxes out around 6 to 7. It has all that beautiful fragrance that we know and love about lilacs, but it's also got the big, hefty flowers, just like the common species or the larger flowering lilacs. Over here is a pearl bush. It's probably an underused shrub. It's an old-fashioned shrub. Often you'd find them maybe lurking around an old house with the panicle hydrangea and peonies and lilacs or forsythia. But they're really a beautiful spring flowering shrub. It gets its name because when the flowers are in bud, they look like little white pearls. But it's just a cloud of white flower at this time of year. Right here is it's a common white lilac. It's a straight species, very commonplace around old farmsteads, that kind of thing. But still just a beautiful, heady fragrance. It's just memorable in terms of the fragrance. The flowers are much smaller because it hasn't had all the hybridization going on, but it's still a beautiful spring flowering lilac. This is one of the crab apples. This is a later flowering crabapple. This is Prairie fire crabapple. This was developed on the University of Illinois campus. Beautiful burgundy tinted foliage most of the year, and then during the growing season, that is. And these beautiful deep pink to red flowers, and it gets a smaller dark red crabapple. Usually the crabapples are persistent into the winter a little bit, but usually they're taken by birds and cedar waxwings and that type of thing. The fruit-eating birds will pretty much scour it clean. But just a beautiful crabapple. Around the corner, we have another lilac, and it's really a cool lilac. It's a hybrid. We just had a really heavy rain, so its flowers are drooping a little bit. But this has got a little white edge around each petal, and it's just an amazing lilac. This one's called Sensation, and it has that same beautiful lilac fragrance that we all know and love, and but just a beautiful, beautiful lilac. This last lilac is a Josie Flylock, and what's really cool about this lilac, it is a little more petite. The flower, it's just starting to bud out. It's not really open yet. It's a little later. But the flower heads clusters are a little smaller, a little more petite, but it is a smaller lilac. It's not a massive lilac that gets 12 and 15 foot tall. But what's really cool about Josie is it's a repeat bloomer. So it has a big burst of bloom in the spring, and then it'll flower midsummer. Again, it's just sporadic flowering, but the idea that you get 2 seasons out of it is really cool. And there's a couple other lilacs just like this on the market. There's one called Bloomerang. It's sort of a funny name, but it gets the point across, I guess. But some of these lilacs, there's really a lot of diversity in lilacs, and they're really important flowering shrubs in the spring garden.